myself in that way. The one thing I did have the realization this year about, though, so here I am 56, still learning, is because of the constant abuse as a child, and we're just talking relentless, you know, I learned to conquer my issues, the stuff that happened to me. I didn't learn to integrate. And that's what doing that ACE test taught me. It was really powerful that, you know, I studied integration, lots of stuff with timeline therapy and NLP and so forth. But I think a lot of us, we get over things. You know, stuff happens, we go through all this pain, and then we get over it. And then we go, I learned that, and I learned that, and I learned that, and next thing. Whereas I think when we can stop and go, and I had to pause and look at that little girl and go, you're a freaking hero. Like, you know, you kept your compassionate heart. You kept now what did I do that was negative? I put a barrier around myself and protected myself, you know, by being the busy wife that, you know, I'm so busy I can't get a relationship. You know, I've got 2 children. I had all the stories. And it wasn't until I did that ACE test, I went, wow, Terry, I think it's maybe time to integrate and let yourself feel good about where you've been.
Yeah, 100%. And to be aware of that little girl and know that she was freaking strong to get through that, and to come out the other end with your passion and your ability to have compassion for other people and still want to give, like that's huge.
It's weird, isn't it? Like it's it is, because, and I think, and trust me, my story is nothing. I always say this compared to so many stories that I've heard of other people. And that's why I think I talk about it, because I want to go, you know, so we give up something for something. You know, so, it was Jay-Z. I couldn't believe that he said it. I was like, he made the comment about when you're in survival mode, you have to have some sort of mechanism to help you continue. Now, I'm not the poster girl for what an abused life looks like. You know, I should be addicted to something. You know, I should have diabetes because of, you know, massive obesity. And I'm not being disrespectful here at all, because people do, because of the reason I look the way that I look and the successful career that I've had. People actually think it's okay to then judge me and criticize me. Who is she to say that? And I go, I've got every freaking right to say it.
Yeah, damn straight.
Yeah, because we came for a reason, and I think that's what I want people to get, is that it doesn't matter what happened; it's irrelevant, really.
Yeah.
What does matter is that you acknowledge yourself for getting through it. You keep a kind heart, and you know that every pain that you've had expands your heart, if anything. You know?
And I think even the way that you did talk about it at that conference was also teaching other people how to disassociate from their story, that you don't have to be your story and you can move past it and still be successful and still achieve what you want to achieve in life. And I think that was what was really powerful as well.
You know, Christine, I totally agree, because I hear people all the time, first person their story, and I will never first person my story unless I'm actually using a specific example for a reason. Because I'm so disconnected from it now anyway. Like, as far as when I say disconnected, I mean, I don't get a charge on it. You know, you won't find me rocking in the corner, you know. But every time people tell that story, their story firsthand, as you know, the brain goes, we're going through that experience again. All right, let's all get ready. You know, and then the tears come up, and then, you know, and then you always find a pit person, you know, to share it with. You have a pit party.
Yep.
With your pit pals. Right?
I love that. I still use that concept all the time. Like, get out of your pit party.
I've just produced a 3D animation movie. It's 3.5 minute. Don't ever do 3D. It's so expensive. Let me tell you. But yeah, so we've got a little get out of the pit video that we'll be releasing soon, which is exciting.
Cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, I love it.
I also love how you kind of bring in the concept of understanding empathy and sympathy as well. Can you tell us a little bit about what your take is on that?
Oh, I love all your questions. Yes, well, I actually disagree with the Dalai Lama here. Don't we love that? Let's be controversial. Because I think what's happened over time is that people have got confused, and so I've been working with empathy since I was 24. I did my first ever full presentation when I was working at Jeans West. I had the most amazing boss, Susie O'Connor. She's still my friend, and she got me to do a speech on empathy. And so we're talking, 32 years ago, and I've trained it ever since. So empathy to me is the act of compassion. And sympathy is where you buy in. Yeah. And I think there was a situation with the CEO of LinkedIn, whose name is coming to me. Anyway, and he's having a chat with the Dalai Lama. And they're talking about compassion and empathy. And they talk about the fact that if there's a man lying on the road and he's got a rock on his chest, a big boulder on his chest, empathy is feeling the boulder on our chest as he has the boulder on his chest. And compassion is doing something about it. And I don't agree. Sympathy is where you have the boulder on your chest. You feel what they feel. You buy into it. Whereas empathy to me is I'm able to, with my experience, my insight, my intelligence, my emotional awareness and social awareness, I'm able to compassionately understand where you're at. And because I haven't bought in, I'm able to do something about that. And so empathy is, to me, compassion is empathy in action.
Yeah, awesome. Perfect.
And sympathy is toxic.
Yeah, because you see that it's their pain, not our pain. So you're not taking it on board and still being able to see it and go, well, I don't have your pain, so I can help you.
Exactly. I can stand neutral. But that's the trick. Most people, this is one of the major parts of our retail training. Can you believe it? That's how people can handle conflict and upset customers, and customers who are angry, is because they're not a part of it.
True.
They're able to look at this person and go, well, I actually don't know you. This is the first time I've laid eyes on you. There's no reason that you would hate me personally. So, wow, if I create a different meaning for that, perhaps you're having a really bad day. And in your ugliest moment, maybe I can be the person who stands here and holds that space for you to give you a few seconds to calm down. And so, yeah, that's why I love it.
Awesome. So you've worked with some really big names with People in Progress, with like Mecca, Hello World, Optus, ANZ. Has there been any favourites, and why would that be?
Oh, that's a hard question.
I hate to make you pick favourites.
They're all my favourites. I love all my children. I do have, there are standout companies, and especially now that we're changing the business. And so, we've gone from very live, highly interactive. We still do live training, but it's actually part of our onboarding process to be able to reach more people. So when it comes to being totally committed to the development of their people and genuinely and authentically creating a wonderful place to work, would be Mecca Brands, because Joe Horgan and Peter Wetherell, as a couple, they're just the most dynamic, amazing human beings you could ever meet. The fact that they can still work together is just hysterical. They just do different parts, of the business, which is good. But really cool people. Joe is one of the most passionate, fair, generous, kind, driven, pioneering women I think I've ever had the chance to work with. And so after 14 years, her dedication to wanting to lead people better. And the thing I love out of the most, because our retail training is so retail, so we do management and coaching and, it's all about the business, but there's a huge element of that where they get their personal breakthroughs and they have their own personal development side that we do. And Jo always says to me, she goes, I just love when I hear it's changed their life.
Wow.
Yeah. That's more important to her than trying to get a return on investment, and even though she gets a massive return on investment, that says the sort of human being that she is. So
beautiful.
She's a leader in that way. Yeah.
So what does good leadership mean to you?
Good leadership means to me is to be able to hold the course, to be very clear about where you're going and hold that course, and to have nimbleness, to move if you have to, vulnerability, to be able to say, I screwed up, I was wrong.
Humility.
Yeah, I think And I think that's a really important part of leadership, I think. Paul Ramsey, actually, he owned Prime Television and Ramsey Health Hospitals, was a major shareholder, whatever. He passed away just recently. And I got the chance to sit beside him at a dinner. He was the CEO of this, massive organisation. I was presenting to 160 of his CEOs the next day. And I said to him, and I knew I'd never get the chance to see him again. So I said, if you could give me 3 things, like 3 bits of advice to go forward with, what would they be? And I think this is what a great leader is. He said, number 1, always look like you know what you're doing. And I thought, that's so true. As a leader, you've got to have that fortitude and that courage to go, this is where we are going. It's going to be great. Come on, people. And so he said when he bought his first hospital, all the doctors walked out. So he put a white coat on and a stethoscope around his neck and just walked through, just pretending that there was a doctor in the house while he's waiting for this doctor to come from another town. He said, as long as people knew that there was a doctor in the house, they'd be fine. No drama. Great point. Second point is do the right thing. And I think every leader, we all know what the right thing is. We know the right thing to do with our customers. We know the right thing to do with our people. We know the right thing to do ethically. We know the right thing to do from a humanitarian point of view. We know the right thing to do when it comes just to communicating with that person who's emptying the trash for you. Do the right thing. And the third thing that he said was, be kind.
Lovely.
He said, kindness and cruelty take the same amount of energy.
Oh, wow. Yeah, awesome.
So they're my top 3 traits to be a great leader.
Beautiful.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you. Yeah, that's awesome. So when brands or corporations or companies reach out to you to get help in the educational space, what challenges are they experiencing that lead them to come to ask for help?
I think because we're primarily focusing in retail at the moment, but we also work, the Terry Hawkins brand also works with other clients as well. But I would say the biggest thing would be in retail is we've changed so much in the last, say, 10 years. And we've gone from a very, even longer, I suppose, 10, 15, 20 years. It was very customer focused. Whereas what we've done is we've transitioned into these businesses where it's very operational. People are doing tasks. It's all about, getting the stock out, filling the shelves. Customers have become almost like an interruption.
Yeah.
We've stopped spending money on, keeping their focus on what's the most important thing. So I think that's the first challenge, is that they're not making enough money.
Always.
And I always walk into stores and go, you are bleeding money in here. If I knew you could see how much money you're actually leaving on the table. And that's not the front line's fault. That's a leadership thing. And where's their value? If training's not a value of yours, or educating the people isn't a value, then stop pretending that it is and become a warehouse. And then I think outside of the retail sector, it's very much, I get called in to do some leadership breakthrough work where, you've got new teams that have come together, or old teams that really need to come to a new level, because at senior executive level, it's more family therapy.
Yeah, totally.
Same dynamics,
Yeah, totally. And so you mentioned that you're about to transition onto being an online platform. How has that evolution happened? Like, what have you found that that's because it's a need because we're so busy, or?
No, I think I actually had my first entry into this in 2005. And so I was, one of the early starters. But I really didn't take it to market. We had a couple of clients who were on board, and I just provided content to an LMS provider. I was about to actually engage with another LMS provider who was going to take a rev share, all this sort of stuff. And, because I was the content king and I could create the content, put it online. And I really believe this. I really hope whoever's listening gets this. When we hear a no, or something doesn't go the way we thought it was supposed to, I truly believe now, and have done for quite a few years, that it was meant to be. And that we get so caught up in the no, we get so affected by the no, instead of just going, interesting. I happened to meet a guy who is now one of my business partners. And he started doing some work with me just on the Terry Hawkins brand. And then he came over to Australia and watched me present a couple of care programs and smart programs. And he really loved the shift human element. So he's a very strong retailer. He was actually doing some work with an amazing IT guru, I'm going to call him. And the three of us got together and we were just chatting about what we could possibly do. And we created our own LMS. So that's like me I went from going to rent a room and house to these two amazing guys coming along going, well, guess what? We're going to build you your own house and you can have rent-free, rooms in there, because that's going to be called our programs. And then from there, we then started to collaborate with each other and realize that there's such a massive market out there for just other tools like sales coaching tools and HR tools and, companies that don't actually promote themselves. And so we've got like course builders. And so I'm now in the business of software, and it just blows my mind to think that, that this schlepping around the country, you can't get to 3,000 people, but you can certainly get to that top layer, well, not top layer, I hate that, top down, I always go inside out, but you can get to the people that actually influence the masses. And if we can get them to do face-to-face and then make them addicted to online, so it becomes a learning journey where they're just buzzed about the growth period, and then they take that knowledge and then they train their staff and then their staff go online. You have this explosion of ability and then passion for what they, originally started to do. So, yeah, I've hated every moment and I've loved every moment.
I have to ask, what do you mean by hating every moment? What's been the challenge?
Well, 28 years, I was born, I was actually 23 when the first major computer was put into corporations.
You do not.
Right? I already had. I love you. I had 23 years on the planet I even remember when the first phones were put in, first home phones. I was probably about 11. Wow. So to go for that transition and to make sure that you are relevant and to be able to offer. And I'm very cautious here too with this business that there is a place for human, and we'll never get rid of that. That's why I actually love the fact that there's no way that AI can actually touch this part of our business, because humans affect humans. We are an affected species. We get affected by our environment, and that face-to-face contact is very, very powerful. The thing is, though, if I can't reach you face-to-face, then by gosh, isn't it better that I just reach you through a screen? Not me per se, but everybody.
Yeah.
It's
still interaction, totally.
Yeah, but it's been hard. I've had to change the whole way I write programs. I've had to stand in front of a camera and do what I normally do to a dynamic group. I've had to bring people in. I now have, a couple of the, guys that we collaborate on, and I was the decision maker before that. I've handed over a lot of the decision making to this younger guy. So he's a millennial, and that in itself can cause conflict as well. But he's very, very clever and, very clear about the direction of technology. So it's a fantastic marriage between the three of us. It's just every day I'm being challenged with, giving up something or bringing something on, or do I give it up or hold on to it?
Yeah, because I can imagine that challenge of being in front of a camera and not being able to bounce off the energies of the audience would be different, yeah?
It very much is, and that's why I'm grateful for all the years I've had, because I see those faces. And now it's getting much more comfortable. I've got a couple of programs under my belt, and quite a few now. And so, I'm going back into the filming more in the next few days. So, I feel good.
Cool. What's your favourite program to teach?
You ask really hard questions.
Sorry.
No, I love it. They're very thoughtful. Look, I'd have to say Care. Care, customers are really everything. It was my very first program that I ever wrote. And I love them all, but I have to say that's the one that I love the most, because I don't think retailers and anyone working in a service industry, whether it's quick service, and we do all of this, quick service retail, so, cafes and fast food and so forth, specialty retail, to anything. Whenever you're standing in front of another human being, we get that, I call it my sliding doors moment. I do this whole thing like, and just in that really quick moment, it's gone. So we can either impact someone in a few seconds or not. And people say to me, or you can't impact someone in a few seconds. And I go, really? Go up to someone living homeless and hand them $20 and look them straight in the eye and tell me you can't impact someone in 3 seconds.
It's so true. So true.
And it's more for what they do for you. So that's why I love care. I think it gives these people in retail who have always, been given a bit of a bad rep and, very low paid. In America, it's shocking the amount of money that they pay retailers. And I would love to see them wake up every morning, and even though they might be getting a less amount of money, some of them aren't even earning a living wage, that they at least get the chance to influence another human being's life in a really powerful way. So their life has meaning,
Yeah, totally. Because they are interacting with people on a daily basis more than a lot of other people in different industries. It's sort of, you don't realise.
I agree.
I was reading a little bit about one of your programs, and I love how you've incorporated identifying learning styles when it comes to educating new team members. And you call it the retail human profiler. I love that. And I think it's something that, I think sometimes gets forgotten, that when you're actually learning something, people take on information differently. And if we can make it easier for people to understand what we're teaching or what they need to learn to do their job well, that can make a huge impact in someone's life.
I cannot tell you the conflict that occurs everywhere in life, whether it's in your personal relationships, when you're coaching someone, parenting, when you don't understand a person's temperament or their sensory calling. Like for me, for example, I'm very low visual. So unless I have something in front of me that I can see, it's very hard for me to contextualize something. But when I've got someone who's very high visual, who's explaining something to me and I'm not getting it, they get frustrated thinking that I'm actually an idiot. I get frustrated because I think, what the hell are you talking about? So you can look at even like as a couple, and let's just say, a visual one would be mess. They can't stand mess. And then you've got a person who's messy. That's also your temperament as well. When you understand it, it's not about saying, well, this is who I am. It's about going, I really care about you, so I'm going to modify myself so that you have the best experience of us.
Yeah,
together.
nice.
And if you do that as a coach or a manager, and you understand a person's learning style, for example, I'm highly auditory, so I talk a lot. Yeah, and I love listening. But you can see the visuals, they start to nod off. Because I need to have that, be upbeat and so forth. So, yeah, I wish I wish all of us would actually pause for 5 seconds. And I think Kennedy said it, in his speech where he said, don't ask what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. Well, I reckon don't ask what other people can do for you. Ask what you can do for other people. How can I modify myself to make it comfortable for you? And if you could do the same for me, then we'll meet in the middle.
Yeah, totally. And that's a huge way to look at relationships in general, like every type of relationship, from like a couple or right through to manager to employee. So, and in business in general, relationships are massive, and it's important that we nurture those relationships. What do you feel is important when building really good, strong business relationships?
I think I actually don't differentiate. I think business relationships are exactly the same as personal relationships, except the boundaries are a little bit tighter. But I think a willingness to actually, and it ties into the last comment that we made, a willingness to see that other people are different to us, and then to modify our communication in such a way that is appealing for them. And I think being truthful and then having the guts to sit in that truth. So someone else's reality of us, that's really painful to do that in business. And I think, I think with our clients especially, I want to share our truth, how we perceive them. And that's all it is. It's just someone's perception. But if it stings, I always go, let it stick. If it stings, let it stick,
Yeah. Yeah, cool. And so how do you feel that the relationship between our managers or owners of businesses have changed with the consumer over the years?
Say that again.
How do you feel the relationship with business owners or the business has changed with, say, their customer or their consumer?
I think, and I don't think it's changed as so much as that they're starting to recognize it, but I think that businesses thought, so we've got the business owners here and we've got the customer here. And it's always been about, then there's a product in the middle. I think that what's in the middle actually is that frontline person.
Yeah.
And the relationship, there's two people in the relationship, and it's the salesperson and the customer. And we have never given enough energy or support around that salesperson. So I also think that a lot of business owners haven't become relevant, you know, especially small business when it comes to online. I think they see it as being a separate business, and it's just another way of being helping your customers get what you want. Yeah.
Totally. So you mentioned before about obviously companies being able to share their values and their missions, and that's, you know, something that's been around for quite a long time now. When I was reading a little bit more about what you do, you talk about taking it to the next level by making it more of a tribal level. Can you explain that a little bit further for me about how you take it to the next level?
I think when everyone's clear about what the purpose of the business is, and, you know, why do you get up in the morning? And, you know, I get up in the morning because I want to make a powerful, positive impact on the human condition. Then when you actually then align all of that to, you know, obviously first, what platform are you going to use to do that? And we happen to have People in Progress. And we offer, you know, online and face-to-face education programs and tools. Then what are the values that go with that? Now, what happens a lot of the time, I think, is that we actually will state these values to our people, but we won't actually honour them, or we won't do them, and it's just keeping in check. So I think when you start at grassroots level and you bring the entire organisation into it, then the tribe keeps the tribe honest. The tribe exits someone out of the tribe because they just don't fit in. You don't need to have HR coming in wielding, you know, the hammer. You have people going, hey, you know, maybe this is the wrong tribe. You know, it's not that you're wrong. It's just that maybe you're not aligned to this one.
Yeah.
But I think you've got to get really clear about what your purpose is, and then be what you say you are. And I think money, one of my biggest things is, you know, when people talk about serving the shareholder, and I go, the day I wake up to serve the shareholder is the day I will quit. Because the shareholder is a gambler, and don't get me wrong, I've got shares and so forth. The shareholder sits outside of the tribe. You know, the tribe wakes up to serve everyone in the tribe. That includes the customer. And if we served each other and then served the customer, you wouldn't have to worry about the shareholder.
Yeah, exactly. That would just be a byproduct. That would happen.
Well, that's what profit is. It's a byproduct.
So how do you feel that your role has changed in People in Progress over the last 28 years?
Well, up until the last 12 months ago, so my role has significantly changed in the last 12 months, and I've handed over a lot of the direction of the business to my partners. I think the reason I'm doing that is because I don't know a huge amount about technology. I know enough. I know a lot about education. I know a lot about human development, and I know a lot about retail. And so I have seen that and had the courage to step away from that. And so that's changed. What else has changed? I think it just is. 28 years is a long time. You know, it's a constantly evolving thing. I can think back to, you know, so much that we did over that 28 years, and with marketing and, you know, different campaigns and different innovations and so forth. So I think now it's just a different platform that we're doing it on.
So what have been some of your proudest moments over those 28 years?
Wow, proudest moments.
They don't necessarily have to be business.
I would have to say, and I'm not going to, you know, I'd love to say, you know, my kids, but I'm not the best parent in the world. And it's funny how people will go, oh, yes, you are. And I go, no, I wasn't. Actually wasn't. Because I traveled for half the year. I wasn't present, but I was actually, I'm really proud of how I've provided for my family. And I've offered my boys, you know, very solid educations, even though with the youngest one still deciding what he wants to do. But yeah, that they've had a great life. We've had beautiful homes we've lived in. We've had, you know, a wonderful experience. I think what the proudest moment I get is when I still get occasional emails from people, actually on a regular basis, saying, you know, you trained me 20 years ago and thank you for this, this and this, or I saw you at a conference 5 years ago and, you know, my wife's just been diagnosed with cancer and she's taken her flip man to hospital, and just stuff like that. I go, I'm not proud, I have to say, just really honoured.
Nice. And so we're coming into the new year. How do you go about starting the new year off right? Do you like to set goals for your business and personally, or do you set New Year's resolutions?
I used to set, this year's been a bit of a funny year for me because I really just had to, you know, head down, bum up, and just, you know, the changes that we went through were just humongous. What I would normally do, I don't believe in New Year's resolutions. I also don't believe, I'm not a very strong believer in this year's going to be the best year. This is my year. You know, last year was so bad. This one's my year. I go, no, it's going to be exactly the same, actually. You know, you're going to have your highs, your lows, your happies, your sads, your frustrations, your wins. It's just what life is. I used to always have a way of being. And so every year I'd decide that I was going to be conscious of whether that was I remember one year I focused on being, you know, incredibly honest, even in the times when I wasn't going to be, like, you know, manipulating the kids to get my handbag out of the car. You know, being honest around that. So I think, yeah, that I would think, who do they want to be in the next 12 months? Who do I want to be at the end of this 12 months, at the end of 2018, when I look back on it? Who was I? If people had to describe who I was, not what I did, not what I achieved, what was she? Was she kind? Was she focused? Was she caring? Was she driven? Was she patient? Was she rude? Was she, you know, whatever?
Yeah, I like that. It's a really great way to look at it. It's awesome.
Thanks.
So what are you excited about for 2018?
Meeting a man.
Oh, hello.
And so I've decided, you know, I'm out there and letting that happen. And I think it was actually this year where when I said to you about that ACE test and just having resolution with that journey that girl had been on, that was me. I think that just brought in all this softness, which was really weird. So I'm going to put that out there. What else? I'm super excited about Where People in Progress, and Ray, Riley and Cash, you know, my IT guru, where the three of us can actually take People in Progress and really offer something that's not even in the market, you know, where we can take that. I'm excited about that, and all the people that get the chance to have exposure to that. I'm excited about my kids' books potentially getting a bit of a look in when it comes to, you know, maybe a television series or something. Yeah. So my kids' books have always been a huge love of mine.
They're powerful. Yeah. I literally just got my sister onto them about a month ago. Yeah. Awesome.
Oh, very cool.
So is there anything that you're reading at the moment or anything that you're listening to that you're finding really interesting?
I've started to look at a book called Principles by, I forget his first name, Daly is the last name. I'm just looking at, because one of the things a friend of mine, and I'm sure you will agree with this, that, you know, religion's becoming less and less important. You know, the more that we see how corrupt a lot of, you know, certain religions are, and how there's so many different forms of religion these days, or not these days, it always has been. And what are people coming through going to have a hold on to? And so it's very much about principles. And I believe that I've always driven People in Progress based. It's principle based. I've called it empathy based, but I think it is principle based. And I really want to do more research into how can we incorporate, you know, human principles into an enterprise style of education where people can come to work and learn how to be a good person in amongst all the other skills development that they're getting. So
yeah, that's massive.
Yeah, I think it'd be really interesting.
What's been some of the best advice you've been given over the years?
The best advice would be My mum used to say when I was little, you wouldn't worry so much about what other people thought of you if only you realised just how little they actually did. that was, yeah, that was a regular of hers. And I thought she was being so cruel when she used to say it. And of course, now I realise that it's actually the most profound thing you could possibly say because she's right. The best advice. I'll tell you the best advice I've ever heard. And I've never said it publicly. I had a friend, I was going through some issues with my younger son, and she said, if you say to a child, I love you, in the middle of an ugly argument, there's something in the brain that it has to go in. Yeah. Like it just go, yeah. And so I would say, you know, I love you. And I'd be screaming and yelling as well. I don't think I'm the innocent one. So I think the power of those three words, you know, that really that's all people want. We just want to know that our life matters, you know, and that we are loved and regardless, you know. So, yeah.
Beautiful.
And I think that the best advice, I think, also is a verse out of a song that my girlfriend and I wrote. And the verse is, we came here, we came to feel, we came to have fun. We came to have our heart broken. We came to love.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful.
That's all it's about.
Love it. I got goosebumps.
Oh.
So if there was if you met someone that was about to go on a business journey, about to start their own business, follow their passion, get into it, what would be some of the advice you'd pass on to them?
I would say get out there and sell. And then when you've sold, sell some more and then keep selling. And so, because I think people just forget the fact that, you know, a business means you've got something to sell. And we think, and this, we really have dumbed ourselves down and weakened ourselves by saying, oh, people don't cold call anymore. You just don't cold call. And, you know, people will come to you, just build a really great website and then, you know, get your search engine things. I go, get out there and find your customer. So be clear about what you're selling, find out who wants to buy it, and then go out there and bloody knock on doors. Do the work.
Do the work. Yeah, 100%. So if people wanted to reach out and find out more about People in Progress, where can they go to do that?
Well, our website is peopleinprogressglobal.com. And then there's the Terry Hawkins brand, which is just Terry Hawkins, Terry. Oh, that's American. So Terry. Hawkins, HAWKINS.com.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you so much. I just want to take this opportunity to really acknowledge you for your contribution to all the workplaces that you're involved in, the people that you're touching with your speaking, and this online platform sounds amazing. So I just want to thank you for your insights and your energy and your knowledge today, and for just making an impact on so many people's lives. Thank you so much.
Well, Christine, you know what? I think this is one of the nicest interviews I've ever had.
Oh, you're so sweet.
No, I'm serious, you know, because you are genuinely interested in the person sitting opposite you, and that makes it so easy. And I feel so grateful for this experience because, trust me, I've sat across some of the best in the world, not the best in the world, but, you know, right up there. And I know that I'm on their show.
That's not what it's about. I wanted to learn more about you and what you've created and just your vision and your voice. And it's just been amazing. Thank you so much.
Well, keep doing what you're doing. Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you.